Last year, Ulama Husseini said that Dua Jawshan Kabir is not 100% Muwassaq. So we have to read Jawshan Sagir. So I just want to ask you a question. Which one is that important? Muwassaq, like 100%?
Yeah. Jawshan Kabir, Dua Jawshan Kabir comes in the book of Kaf Ami, Rahmatullah alayh. Kaf Ami was in the 9th century in Islamic calendar. And Jawshan al-Saghir also has come in the very book of Baladul Amin of Kaf Ami, and also comes with Sayyid ibn Tawus Rahmatullah alayh. So even Jawshan al-Saghir, Sayyid is the 6th century. Kaf Ami is the 9th century. So Jawshan al-Saghir is 3 centuries before the Jawshan al-Kabir. But at the same time, there are 6 centuries, the gap between the time of the Ahlul Bayt, Quran, Rasulullah, and so what matters is that there is a ruling in Ilm al-Hadith that when it comes to dua and adiyah, usually we look at the concept. We don't that much emphasize on the chain of the narration because the word itself is speaking to you. Dua is asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, when you recite dua Abu Hamza Somali, the concept is enough. You don't need to go through the chain of narration. Dua Kumail, the concept itself is speaking. You don't need to go, of course, you can search for the chain of narration, but I mean the wording itself is speaking. And you want to have communication with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ud'uni astajib lakum. When I want to call Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I look at these wordings, I see the best of ways to speak to Allah. I didn't know to speak to Allah this way. So it is teaching me to speak to Allah that way. So the point is that there is a ruling that they don't take that much serious with the adiyah, the chain of narration in adiyah. They look at the concept. Such great ulama like Marhum Mirza Hadi Sabzevari Rahmatullah alayh, the great faqih, arif, and philosopher. He has written an interpretation, sharh on Jawshan al-Kabir. And when you read it, you see that how great these names of Allah are. They can open these names for you to see that how deep this Allah is. All these names, Ya Nur. You find it in Quran. You find it in many hadiths that Allah is Nur. Allah is Rahim. Allah is Munir. All these names you can find it in. So you cannot say that these are not the names of Allah. And the concept matters to us. Beside what you see, regardless of all these things, at Laylatul Qadr, we are commanded by Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam to recite dua. Not dua ya ma'thur. Dua which comes through Ahlul Bayt is dua ya ma'thur. But you are not commanded to recite dua. Dua which is from Ahlul Bayt. Of course, the moment you want to ascribe it to Ahlul Bayt, you do it with a kind of precaution. You say that Kaf Ami is mentioning it. Kaf Ami is one of the great Shia ulama, and it's very unlikely that if there is no source, because lots of books have been destroyed. We didn't have the chance to meet them. Lots of the books that Allameh Majlisi narrates from them, they are not at our disposal today. So it's possible that Kaf Ami, you cannot say that Kaf Ami, such a great Shia alim, made it out of himself and ascribed it to Ahlul Bayt. That alim at that level, he also knew that this is not permissible. So when you want to ascribe it by all these things to Ahlul Bayt, you do it with precaution. You say that 100% is not sure that it is from Ahlul Bayt. But anyhow, the concept itself is speaking. I said when you're talking بأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء. So if you are asked, okay, tell me 5 names of the names of Allah, you don't know. But then you recite Dua Jawshan Kabir, it's like an ocean that opens wisdom, horizons of wisdom before you. That by all these names I can face Allah, Allah can face me. So, from that perspective, that dua. Otherwise, if we want to be strict, then lots of these adiyas, if we want to look for the chain of narration, there will be problem. Even with Jawshan al-Saghir will be such problem. If you want to be like those fiqhi or theological hadiths that should be 100% true, that I'm establishing my fiqh, my acts, and my belief on that. If you want to, mutawatir is very few. A hadith mutawatir is very few. So if we want to be so strict with the chain of narration, at the end nothing will remain. Very, very few. So for du'as, ulama, they take it easy with the chain of narration. Otherwise, our brothers always, they, for example, emphasize on the importance of doing scholastic discussions and debates as Laylatul Qadr, that they say this is one of the greatest acts. While this is not a hadith, this is the saying of Shaykh Saduq. Even this is not a hadith. Nobody has said this is a hadith. This is the saying of the view of Shaykh Saduq. It's a fatwa of Shaykh Saduq, not more than that. So with such things, we are not that much strict. And I said what matters with dua is that the text of dua speaks itself. In the duas that have been mentioned, few of them, they have a strong chain of narration to find it in the books like Tahzib, like Istibsar, like Man La Yahzurhu al-Faqih, like Usul al-Kafi. They're not much. So if you want to be strict with those chain of narration, then nothing much will be